I offer my most humble and loving pranams at the lotus feet of our dear Lord Bhagawan Shri Sathya Sai Baba. Respected elders, sisters and brothers, Om Shri Saram. On behalf of the Shri Sathya Sai Baba Center in Toronto, York, I welcome each and every one of you to today's birthday celebrations for Swami's 95th birthday. We've had some wonderful programs this weekend from our group 1, 2, and 3 children. And this morning, we have the most wonderful opportunity for a feature presentation by our group 4 girls. This is truly a remarkable offering, and you'll see so in just a few minutes. And I'd like to just take a moment to thank all of the group 4 girls, their gurus, and parents for all of their hard work in putting this offering together. It shows a remarkable journey along this theme, My Story is His Story. Now please sit back and enjoy the show. Jai Sai Ram.
Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atmanivedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhaktische Navanakshana Kriyet Bhagavati Adha Tanmanye Dhitam Uttamam.
Here is a quote from the final chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. One can understand the Supreme Personality only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord, by such devotion he can enter into the kingdom of God.
Swami says, Bhagavan plus Anurakti equals Bhakti. Bhagavan meaning that in whom all powers are inherent, and Anurakti meaning intense love. Thus, Bhakti is the intense love towards Bhagavan, or whom all powers are inherent.
Navavita Bhakti, otherwise known as the 9 paths of devotion, are the different avenues to reach our final goal.
Throughout our SSE journey, we have always been taught the stories of great devotees like
King Parikshit from the Srimad Bhagavatam is a great example of Shravanam, as he continuously listened and put into practice the teachings of the Lord.
Sage Narada is a supreme example for Kirtanam, as he sang the glories of God by chanting his name.
Prahalada realized God through Smaranam. As he went through his pain and suffering, he never lost his faith in God and always remembered him.
Goddess Lakshmi is always seen massaging the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, showing her worship through Pada Sevanam.
Markandeya is an ancient rishi who continues to offer his worship to Lord Shiva primarily through rituals such as puja, yagna, and archanam.
Queen Kunti in the Mahabharata worshipped through Vandanam by daily reverence and prayer.
Hanuman continuously offered personal service and endless encouragement towards Rama, serving him wholeheartedly.
In the Mahabharata, Arjuna and Krishna embodied Sakyam through having a strong friendship with each other.
King Bali from the Vamana Avatar completely surrendered himself to the Lord, exemplifying Atma Nivedanam.
While we have been inspired by their utmost devotion, it has always remained a daunting task as to how we can achieve this as teenagers growing up in an ever-changing society.
While reflecting on this year's theme, Our Story is His Story, we discovered that we ourselves unknowingly have been on this path. Though the times in which they are practiced are different, the strength, determination, and focus required is the same.
Navavita Bhakti, otherwise known as the 9 paths of devotion, are the different avenues to reach our final goal.
This journey has 9 chapters. 9 chapters which begins with Shravanam. Shravanam means listening to the glories of the Lord. Valina shares her story about how SSE helped her find her love for listening to the glories of Swami.
As a young girl, the concept of God and spirituality was simply an abstract idea. Through my parents and religious events, I had come to know about God and prayer, but I did not understand the purpose of it. In Hindu culture, we celebrate and glorify the divine beings depicted in the scriptures, but I wondered what the significance was. I attended prayers, went to the temple, and celebrated cultural festivities out of obligation, but I was searching for the true meaning behind it all. Growing up, I was impatient, restless, and could not sit still. Like a monkey's mind, it was flooded with thoughts, unsettled, and confused. My parents thought it was best that I was put into SSE to learn and understand about God, religion, and most importantly, our beloved Sri Sathya Sai Baba. At first, you would think that I loved SSE classes, but it was a rough journey for me. Placing me into SSE classes was my parents' idea. They believed it was best for me, and it was. It's just, as a 6-year-old, I didn't understand the things the way my parents did, or the way I do now. For the first 2 years of SSE classes, I was not able to understand what was going on in class, or what it was the gurus were talking about. It was more of a routine than something I looked forward to, until things changed. As time went, I started to mature and understand things differently. I listened more attentively to what the gurus were teaching and paid attention to everything that was taught. When I was 13, I recall learning about the Mahabharata. I had recognized life lessons taught in that story. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, a materialistic person can give up his material hankerings only by becoming situated in Krishna consciousness. Unless one finds a superior engagement, one will not be able to give up his inferior engagement. In the material world, everyone is engaged in their own lives, problems, and situations. But when one is given the opportunity to relish the activities of Bhagawan, they forget all their dilemmas and distractions. When Krishna spoke on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, to the naked eye, it appears that this is simply talking between 2 friends, but actually, it is divine guidance flowing from Krishna's mouth. Arjuna paid attention and listened to such vibrations, and thus, he became freed from his fear. I came to realize that Arjuna, a friend and devotee of Lord Krishna, had listened to the divine sayings Krishna had told him, and was able to detach himself from all his materialistic and worldly problems. It is then when I understood that Shravanam, which means to listen to the divine glories of the Lord, was one of the ways that Arjuna, a great war hero, showed devotion. Devotion can be shown in many different ways, but I found it best when I listened to the glories of the Lord. As I grew, SSE classes and listening to the stories and tales of Bhagawan brought me bliss. It gave me a sense of eternal calmness and kept me in a spiritual state of mind. As time goes, I try to improve myself and find ways in which I can connect with Swami. Shravanam is something that has always attracted and enchanted me. During tougher times in my life, I find strength and comfort in reading Swami's stories. I turn to listening and reading anything pertaining to the Lord, from His qualities, miracles, activities, and His discourses. I have learned to not look at reading Swami's stories as a mere task, but rather something I find peace and serenity in. When I am lost or confused, I continue to find answers through the practice of Shravanam. I am able to connect to Bhagavan through reading spiritual literature and finding guidance through it. It keeps me on the path of my spiritual journey, which is to see and believe that everything and everyone is God. As I begin to appreciate the Lord by listening to His glories, I subconsciously develop love and devotion for Him. It is so easy to get distracted and forget to devote some time to Bhagavan, but it is even easier to turn on Radio Sai or listen to his discourses. Every day, I try to read Swami's stories, not only as a form of my devotion towards him, but a way of creating and strengthening a relationship with Bhagavan. I aspire to grow close with Swami in the same way Arjuna was to Lord Krishna. Through the reading of these stories and sacred texts, I feel as though I have been immersed in the presence of the Lord, that all my worries and fears have been taken care of, and that God and I are one. Through this journey, I have learned that true devotion comes from the heart. Devotion does not solely imply prayers and bhajans, but also the reading and understanding of devotional literature in text. It is a way in which I feel that my connection with Swami is becoming stronger. I continue to read the stories of Swami to blossom that connection into a divine friendship between Bhagavan and I. Through that, I truly feel blissful and at peace.
Kirtanam is to sing the praises of the Lord. Swami says that chanting the Lord's name is the best way to reach Him. Anjali will now share her story about how singing the Lord's name strengthened her bond with Swami.
Swami once said, "Devotional singing is a spiritual practice for all who share in it." I joined SSE when I was only 5 or 6 years old, and I have many memories of sitting in the bhajan hall after class, clapping and singing along, but never understanding the true depth and meaning behind the bhajans.
My older brother began attending SSE bhajan practices on Friday evenings along with a few other students, and as a young child, not knowing any better, I joined him. For 2 hours, I would sit and watch with fascination as bhajans, new and old, were sung and Vedas were chanted. As intrigued as I was, I never paid much attention in class, and I often forgot what we had learned only a week prior. I often got bored because I never understood the purpose of sitting in that classroom every week. I didn't attend practice out of interest. I attended out of obligation. I didn't feel connected to bhajans, and I didn't feel joy or calmness when I was singing them. As I got older, I became more aware of what was happening around me. I made new friends from bhajan practice who kept me coming back each week. Classes seemed more interesting, and somehow I began to feel excited about practice every Friday evening. When new bhajans were taught, I would quickly jot them down and practice them for the next few days until I hit the right notes. My practice wasn't tremendous, but the little bit of confidence that it gave me allowed me to not be scared to attend practice. Even with the efforts I made, I was shy and scared to sing even in front of our small bhajan group. I yearned to be a strong member of the SSE Bhajan team and sing more regularly in the Bhajan hall. I wanted singing to be my way of expressing my devotion and gratitude towards Swami. It wasn't the fact that I couldn't be a lead singer that disappointed me. It was the fact that I couldn't express my devotion towards Swami through song. I felt most connected to Swami when I was singing bhajans, and it had become a way to surrender my problems and worries to him. At first, I only sang with another student who was in the SSE Bhajan team. Usually, they were a close friend, and it would be a new experience for the both of us. We took it all in, sitting in front of a big hall, singing to Swami, and feeling that divine energy for the short time we were up there. It was those first times that made me more and more inclined to love and appreciate bhajan practice. There are so many ways to show our devotion and gratitude towards God, and for me, it was through song. As I matured in the SSE Bhajan practices, and as a person, I realized that it's not only the lead singer who is able to express their gratitude and devotion to the Lord. It's everyone in the Bhajan hall, the talented instrumentalists, the congregation singing chorus, and even the young children clapping along. Together, we rejoice in Swami's name and use bhajans as a channel to get closer to him. The end reward, however, was not that I got to sit in front of the bhajan hall and sing alone. The reward was being able to sing in front of Swami with all my love, gratitude, and devotion. It was having the opportunity to express those emotions through a song and allow other people to feel and bask in that energy as well. There are 9 forms of devotion, Navavidha Bhakti, and I found my calling with Kirtanam, singing the praise of the Lord's magnificence and omniscience with heartfelt devotion. This personal journey taught me 3 vital lessons: practice, perseverance, and patience. I faltered several times on this journey, but that downfall is what allowed me to rise back up with more drive and passion to show my devotion towards Swami.
Smaranam is where the devotee constantly remembers the name and form of the Lord. Jaya will be sharing the importance of this bhakti to her as it helps her blur the lines between spirituality and the material world.
We have heard the epics bestow upon us stories of the gopis, their hearts filled with devotion and their minds ever concentrated on the Lord. But few and far in between are the stories that extol the lives of our youth, for they are personal, everyday tales filled with levels of subtlety and tact. For in our lives we have learnt to compartmentalize the divine eyes and the earthly cries. Never here nor there we lay in between, yet we are everywhere, the children of the in-between. We live our lives on the cusp, a state of knowing, yet disillusionment. Be still, we are told, in a world that urges motion. Be free, we are told, in a world that wishes to ground us. The battle in our mind, the Kurukshetra, the only solution is the Lord, the Savior. Smaranam. To me, it quiets the material world just enough to hear the hum of the divine. It's the internal process that will deliver us. It is the remembrance of the name. The greats have said, "What is in a name?" For a rose called by any other name would still smell as sweet. For it is the emotions, the concepts, and the ideologies of the name that hold its true power. Only in remembering may we transport ourselves to new universes and fantastical worlds, for the power of the mind can deliver us. When I was younger, I thought that I should perchance move to an ashram on the outskirts of rural India. To create this physical distance was the only way to remove the inner turbulence. But as the mind is the creator, it will also be the remover. To equip the mind, to prepare a mental place of solitude is all one needs. Smaranam. It helped me to comprehend the unity within all nature, and that the greatest illusion on the planet, the one everyone will try to trick you into believing, is the illusion of separation. From this, we understand that a true and pure devotee who constantly remembers the Lord in all situations will never be unhappy through all of life's struggles. For who is to say what is truly a trouble?
Smaranam. That is the remembrance of an energy greater than yourself, one that is all-encompassing kindness and stands for everything good in this world. Because at the end of the day, as children of the in-between, I find that the easiest way to balance, to coexist, is to remove the distinction. Smaranam. My solace in times of need, an internal bhakti path that would forever change the way I feel.
Savnan is serving the feet of the Lord. Pranati will be sharing her understanding of the importance of selfless service and spreading happiness.
Service to man is service to God. Something we were all told from a young age, to put others before yourself, to help and not expect anything in return, and to be selfless but not selfish. The world can be a bad place. Life can be bittersweet. Then why should we serve the divine feet? Love must express itself as service, said the mother who found much purpose. To the child who didn't know what to say, so she accepted it and walked away. As a girl who didn't resonate with these concepts, she thought that it was obsolete But she still wondered, why should we serve the divine feet? Help ever, hurt never, said the father who encouraged her to endeavor towards making the world a better place. Like seeing the glowing of dawn's first rays, she tried her best to retreat, claiming that she wanted her friends in on this feat, although her efforts became one with defeat. She swallowed her distress and went to serve, to sing and play to the elders who deserve. But the voice in her head was constantly on repeat, asking, why should we serve the divine feet? Love is selflessness. Self is lovelessness, said the Guru, who is the essence of truthfulness, the epitome of compassion. She lacked passion and resented this activity. Not until she saw what the elders were doing physically. They're clapping and dancing, she thought. This was when she started to love the main thing she fought. She approached an elder lady sitting on the chair. You did a beautiful job, sweetheart, I swear. Since then, her uncertainness on service was erased. All because she saw the happiness on their face, and in their eyes she saw the hidden pain. Love all, serve all, said the voice in my head. That same voice which convinced me to go against a good quality. That same voice that persuaded me that service to humanity isn't elite. But now, that same voice tells me the opposite. I finally attained the answer to the question that I have been pondering about all my life. Just like Goddess Lakshmi tending to Lord Narayana's feet, and Shabari tasting if Rama's berries are sweet. It is my duty to serve humanity and develop the bhava that I am serving the divine feet. I am grateful to have earned the opportunity to learn and love the path of Seva, but to internalize the mindset of Seva, to continuously serve everyone in the image of the Lord is something that I am striving for. Even though my journey isn't complete, I am constantly trying to visualize everyone I encounter as Swami and perform every action as though I am serving him.
Archana means ritual worship to God. Soumya will be sharing her experience on moving from praying ritually to offering everyday tasks as a ritual to Swami.
Growing up, I believed that the only way to worship God was to light a candle, pray in an altar, and offer flowers to images and idols of God. My parents always emphasized the power of praying and taught me to always seek the help of God for any answers or support at any given time. Sometimes I thanked God for my happiness and for allowing me to share my lasting memories with my family, friends, and peers. Other times, I found the need to vent to God about my thoughts for comfort and guidance. Whenever I felt like nobody else would understand, I knew that God would. Of course, there were times when I prayed to God for something I really wanted, like good grades. I believed that God was always listening and that everything happens for a good reason. Through my ups and downs, I was always quick to go to the prayer room. Praying was embedded in my daily life. However, as I continued to pray in the morning and at 6 p.m. every day, year after year, I felt like I lost the meaning of my worship to God. For someone who strongly believed in praying as a form of worship, I certainly did not feel that way anymore once it became less of something I looked forward to and more of an obligation. I noticed that while I was chanting, Om Gananam Tva, I would subconsciously think, oh, I need to finish up my English essay. I gotta wake up early tomorrow morning. Or, what's that smell? Must be my dinner. Still, I believed so deeply in God and was on a path of realizing how I can truly worship Him with all my being, without it just being the physical act of praying. It is said that the purpose of worship is to please the Lord, to purify the heart by the surrender of the ego, and strengthen the love for God. Ideally, during any kind of worship, the mind must be focused only on the form of God. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has said, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. It is not just the physical act of putting a leaf, flower, fruit, and water in front of an idol. Rather, Krishna has elaborated on the practice of Archanam by saying that what a devotee should really offer to God is the leaf of the body, flower of the mind, the fruit of the heart, and the sacred water, which are the tears of bliss that flow from the eyes. Quite honestly, I was overwhelmed by these words of wisdom. I am still on a path of learning to make sure that all my actions reflect pure devotion to Him. One day, I hope that my thoughts, words, and actions become a constant offering to God, a constant archana. I know that my offering to God can be done through volunteering with full dedication, being respectful of my parents and gurus who have imparted great knowledge to me, having good judgment of my actions, and practicing self-care to develop a positive mindset that is free from bad thoughts and a healthy body. I understand that ultimate archanam is doing everything with Him in mind and placing it as an offering at His lotus feet. While I am not there yet, I am earnestly on this journey and for now will continue to perform my prayers, rituals, and participate in bhajans wholeheartedly with full focus on Him, and slowly graduate to the thinking whereby I offer everything as my archanam to Him.
Vandanam is supreme reverence, adoration, or prayer to the Lord. Shruti will now be talking about her journey from transactional prayer to expressing gratitude through prayer.
Swami once stated, prayer must emulate from the heart, where God resides, and not from the head, where doctrines and doubts clash. Vandanam is the sixth form of devotion, which is supreme reverence or prayer to the Lord. The devotee begins to see their favorite form of the Lord, everywhere, in all beings and objects. It is an intensely personal process, and is the universal form of bhakti, as many religions have their own prayers to help establish a deeper connection with their form of God. Prayer is a reflection of our spiritual realization and our unique relationship with God. It is our most intimate conversations with the Lord. The beauty of a prayer, however articulated, lies in its sincerity. The concept of stating a prayer in order to express gratitude or seek help from the Lord was introduced to me at a very young age. Even before attending SSE classes, I was taught to pray to Swami when I woke up in the morning, before I went to bed, and before every meal. These prayers were simply a few lines of Sanskrit that had no meaning to me. I chanted them mindlessly, as saying these words in an unknown language was simply the norm. When I joined SSE at the age of 4, I was taught even more prayers for even more scenarios that were specific to my life. For example, I was taught that prayers to Lord Ganesha were to destroy obstacles and were to be used when I faced a barrier in my life. From pre-SSE to Group 1, my understanding of prayers was as if they were magic spells that I could chant to get rid of all problems in my life. I didn't have to know what they meant, but if I said the words, the problem would be solved. At this time, my parents were extremely strict about getting me to say my daily prayers. However, as I got older, specifically around the time that I entered Group 2, saying these daily prayers felt more like a chore and a waste of time to me, rather than a way to connect with God. Soon, I completely stopped saying my daily prayers, as I felt that there was no need for them. I wasn't getting any direct results out of them. I was getting restless with the fact that I wasn't getting quick, real, and tangible results. My problems weren't magically disappearing. As I got older, studies, friendships, and my social life became more important to me. I went back to prayers to look for peace and get rid of obstacles. For example, I would pray to get a good grade on an upcoming test. However, I only said my prayers when I needed help. I didn't say them with any understanding or sincerity, but simply said the words and hoped they would fix the issue. Until entering Group 3, this was my relationship with prayers and God, until I realized that not only did I gain nothing out of them, I felt guilty for only communicating with the Lord when I needed something. My prayers weren't sincere, and were instead mindless chanting of the lines and hoping to God that it would achieve the results I desired. What was supposed to be a way for me to create a close bond, relationship, and friendship with God was starting to feel like I was asking Him for favors. Conversations in SSE about how my friends felt clarity and peace while chanting prayers and communicating with the Lord made me question my relationship with Swami and the importance of prayers. One day in Group 3, we were asked to reflect on how we felt after chanting our prayers. My classmates said that they felt at peace, clear, and happy after saying their prayers, as if they had just had a conversation with an old friend. Others said that they felt reassured, rejuvenated, and calmer when chanting specific prayers. This was what I was longing for. I began going back to chanting my prayers daily and understanding the meaning behind them, and saying them with true sincerity and feeling. Instead of seeing chanting prayers as a chore, I started to chant them to connect with the Lord, to confide in Him, ask for guidance, seek help, give gratitude, or ask for forgiveness, which helped me connect with Him. To me, prayer is now a form of reflection of my unique relationship with God. Chanting sincere prayer with understanding gives me clarity and makes me feel at peace with myself. The feeling of chanting a sincere prayer and confiding in the Lord feels as if a weight has been lifted off of my shoulders, and is what I believe true bliss feels like. My ultimate goal is to achieve a relationship with God that is similar to that of Mother Kunti. Her prayer to Lord Krishna was, "O Krishna, I offer my obeisance unto you, because you are the original personality, and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all." This personal journey taught me that prayers are rendered useless unless they are sung with feeling and understanding, and they are less like magic spells and more a way for me to have a conversation with and establish a deeper connection with Swami and truly feel at peace.
Dasyam is where the devotee considers themselves as a servant of the Lord. Prashantani talks about her journey where she is beginning to understand that everything is an all from her Lord.
This Bhakti Marga is when one looks at the Lord as the Master and considers oneself His servant. Dasyam is an attitude of considering myself as an instrument and becoming an able instrument in my beloved Lord's hands. As the Bhakta, I have to accept my life's bitter and sweet events as His prasad, because all situations are coming directly from Swami. Every movement done by me is part of the Lord's work. I am just a servant fulfilling that work given by Him in my life. It was hard for me to think like this at first. There are many points in my life where I was questioning why something was happening to me. My journey in this path of bhakti started about 2 years ago. It was near the end of school, which was the most hectic time of the year, with all my final assignments and exams. It was very late one day at home, and I was working on an assignment for school. When I was done, I thought of putting my books and laptop downstairs so I had everything ready for the next morning. As I was bringing the books down the stairs, I had accidentally tripped and fell. I was blanked out for a few minutes. My arm wasn't moving and I was in pain. I had to go to the hospital as I knew something wasn't right. There, I had been diagnosed with a broken arm. Everything was happening so fast that it felt like a dream, and naturally, I was really scared. I couldn't go to school for a few days, and I couldn't perform everyday activities like feeding myself without help. Every day, I couldn't sleep and continuously questioned Swami. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? Was it because I didn't pray enough? I had cried out to Swami, and I was confused with everything happening. To distract me from the pain, I watched Swami's discourses and some of his devotees' experiences. I came upon a devotee talking about a tragic event in his life, and he explained how he asked Swami, "Why me?" when something bitter happens, but we don't ask "Why me?" when something pleasant happens. I was baffled after hearing this. I reflected and realized that in all the moments I was filled with joy, I never asked Swami, "Why me?" because I had thought it was something I did to earn this joy. When the video of the experience was done, Swami's discourse played after that. He says, "The Lord has placed us wherever we are in life and with certain people. The situations we face are what we need to evolve. Everything is from Him. Everything is really Him. The servant never questions. He only follows orders, taking a cue from what is happening." Hanuman is an example of this Bhakti Marga. Hanuman was content with everything he did, as he did every action commanded by Rama. Hanuman had always said that he was the servant of Lord Rama. After watching the discourse, it made me think deeply, which led to the realization that without His presence, no action can be made. From then onwards, I had somewhat learned to accept everything as His will. I realized that Swami gives the situations we encounter in life, and everything is a part of His master plan. As a servant, I have to get through any situation thinking, what would Swami want me to do? How would He want me to react? With the broken arm, it was tough for me to do normal activities. But after my reflection, I had learned to perform all activities, small or big, as if Swami had ordered me to do it. I had slowly forgotten the pain, and I was delighted with what I was doing. I kept reminding myself that every situation I encounter is His will. I am still learning. There have been and there will continue to be some off days where I forget that everything is part of the Lord's plan. I have come to know that I can't claim any of my actions, and at the same time,
I understand that every action done by me is me positioned as His servant. This experience has taught me that everything happens because of Swami and that everything happens for something good. Right now, as the servant to Swami, I should be accepting everything as His prasad and follow His every word. Be a servant of God. Then all strength and joy will be added unto you. Feel that you are an instrument in His hand. Let Him shape you and use you as He knows best.
Atma Nivedanam is the final step. However, we as a class relate the most to Sakyam, seeing Swami as a friend. So, for today's offering, we will take a slight detour and present Atma Nivedanam ahead of Sakyam. Atma Nivedanam means completely surrendering oneself to the Supreme. Pranavi will share how she has embarked on constantly surrendering to the Lord.
As a child, my mother made sure my sister and I had a deep connection with God. We went to the temple every Friday evening. Then we went to Sai Center every Sunday afternoon. Although it took me a long time, I had built a connection with God. Through meditation and daily prayer, I maintained a steady and healthy relationship with the Lord. Suddenly, I was faced with a challenge. In 2016, someone close to me went through a tough emotional roller coaster. It took our family a long time to understand what they were going through. During this time, they were unable to do day-to-day activities, which put a toll on our family. At this point, I was mad. After so many years of seva, meditation, and constant prayer, how could God hurt us like this? During this time, I felt that I lost that connection with God. I hadn't told anyone about my situation. I felt that they would treat me differently. However, once I came into high school, I noticed that these situations were more common than I thought. 2 years ago, I could feel myself slipping away. I despised going to the temple because I was still angry. It hurt to watch them battle their struggles while I was on the sidelines. Even though I was hurting, I never told anyone about how I felt. I didn't want to be a target for bullies. So instead, I hid my feelings and tried to move on. That only made things worse. But who else was there for me to turn to? I realized there was only Him. Him who always said, "Why fear when I am here?" Him who said, "If you take 1 step towards me, I will take 100 steps towards you." I decided that it was time to turn to Him, to let Him control everything, to surrender myself to Him completely. But this was hard to do because I could not let go of my anger. Slowly, through constant meditation and prayer, I found solace. Solace in knowing that He will always take care of us. Seeing them struggle made me realize that only God can guide them. With my prayer and God's grace, they lead a healthy life. I turn to God for everything big and small, because He makes me feel like I can conquer anything. I may have struggled for a prolonged period. However, I have surrendered and accepted. I have accepted that I cannot control every outcome. I have accepted that I can only do my part and let God do the rest.
Sakyam is where the Bhakta sees God as his or her friend at all times. Lalita shares how having Swami as a consistent companion is helping her through her teenage years.
Growing up is tough. Dealing with all the scrapes, bruises, and bluffs. It's like every day you encounter another mistake. But there's no one to pick you up and brush the dirt off your knees. Everyone is busy. Everyone is on the go. And you just want to feel like you're at home. Home seems so far away, especially when you're at school all day. So you look to others and try to find comfort. In the other young faces that surround, surely there's a friend around. You look and find the most welcoming smile, but looks are deceiving, as you will soon learn. The ears that you pour your secrets to will repeat your words like a broken telephone to the whole entire room. So you've learned your lesson and you move on. Look around again and what do you see? You're like a rabbit in a skulk of foxes. So you dye your fur and try to blend in. But your true colors are just too hard to keep in. You're like a shooting star being held back from soaring. But being yourself doesn't get you the friends you plan on keeping for possibly eternity. So you decide it's a price worth paying, because hey, at least someone's saving you a seat at the table. That's not enough, is it? You want more, isn't it? Because now you have some unrealistic fantasies of a person who will listen to your troublesome queries, of a person who will listen to your banter, of a person who will shed a tear alongside yours, of a person who will choose you first, of a person who will pull you from the dirt. Maybe there is no one person who can do it all. But you're unhappy, and what you want is small. A simple smile will suffice. A smile, a divine ray of hope, the face that you see in every room, of a God who says is always with you, in troubles and joy, through the hurdles and moments to enjoy. Swami? So you decide that from now on, you will lean on God, as He is the ocean of compassion and goodness. You promise yourself that at the next hurdle in the race, you will give Him your trust and faith. Life keeps flowing and you're older, but with different worries. And it seems that it only gets tougher, but you think that you can manage. Maybe it was time for the currents of life to become turbulent. But once again, you're caught in the mortal riptide of life. The only difference is that now you have a life jacket, Swami. So you're fine with the water dragging you along. Except you forgot to put the jacket on before you jumped in, so the water has pushed and pulled you until you're torn to shreds. Picking up the pieces, as it always seems, sleepless nights and scary dreams, diaries left with an angry note to self. You can watch as much TV as you like and eat as much chocolate as you can, but nothing can fill that emptiness inside. That emptiness is soon filled with rage. Why, God, why? Was I not a friend in need? Did I not call you out and plead? You claimed to be there for the ones who ask, but you disappeared when it mattered the most. This is it. We are done. I won't give you my trust. You're just too far away for me to reach, and I can't climb a mountain to search for you, nor do I have your number to text you. Unreachable, that's what you are. I'm no yogi to invoke you, nor do you seem like the person who has a lot of time. There must be millions wanting to talk to you. You think this friendship has faded, like a fresh flower that withered and decayed. Little do you know, your angry words to the universe were conveyed, and tomorrow will forever change. As you go to school and sit in the assembly, God's words come through. For an hour without stop, constant confirmation of your bond. You can hear him clearly today, for the first time in forever, as he assures you that he is your friend through all endeavors. He tells you that he was waiting beside you all along, to understand that he can offer what others cannot. The right advice and the feeling of comfort, his ocean of love and motherly affection. A silent listener and biggest supporter, and those arms which are waiting to grasp all your problems. Give me your worries, he declares, and I will take care of them with no delay. Then you stop, finally, and think. You had thought of God as a friend, but still acted on your own accord. You failed to stop and think of Swami's advice amidst all the discord. What does it mean to be friends with God? It's more than just shared stories. It's more than just inside jokes and laughter. To walk alongside God on the same footing, I must be worthy of that blessing. For your entire life, you've changed yourself to the liking of others. Now, you only change for God. Make yourself worthy of his friendship by practicing what Swami advises. As Swami says, friendship ought to be a spiritual bond, a heart-to-heart kinship based on full understanding of and pure dedication of one to another. So, dear self, growing up is tough, and you may fall and hurt yourself. But learn to offer your problems to the Lord and make him your only resort. Treat him like a friend of years, but still remember who he is. Time and time again, the winds of life will try to sway you. They will try to crack your resolve and break your faith. You yourself may give in to bad tendencies and let your ego think you're great. Hold on firmly to this friend, as he will carry you across the sea of change.
Through our discussions and reflections, we have found that we all resonate with Sathya. As we continue to be surrounded by so many distractions, we turn to Swami as our friend to confide in, to seek guidance from, and know that he is the best company to surround ourselves with.
A small girl, naive and young. I didn't know any better, but you helped me through everything. You were there when no one wanted me. You were there when I was going through the storms, my only friend. Growing up was tough. You were there, protecting me always with your golden shield of protection. I would remember your name in the best times and the worst times. I would remember your name on the rainy days and the days where the sun shined bright. The world would become scarier each day, more dangerous as the days passed. I would remember that you are with me. I would remember your name.
You were there when people left me. You were there when I was at my greatest. And you will always be there, throughout my life and forever after that. My best friend, my only friend.
Nine bhaktis, 9 stories, 9 devotees. Their journeys have been powerful and eye-opening. Listening to their stories, it is clear that the girls have shown characteristics of devotees that have tread this ancient and evergreen path towards God. While we may feel we don't have the opportunity to have the physical presence of the Lord, we are still able to gain inspiration from not only the devotees of yore, but our peers who walk this path with an equal amount of courage and one-pointedness. Facing the unique stressors of being a high school student, combined with the pressures of social media, living in a diaspora, and community expectations placed upon us, have never wavered the path we've taken in merging our story with His story. On behalf of all the Group 4 girls, Swami, we thank you for always being there for us, for showing us this path and giving us the courage to stay on it no matter what. We are eternally grateful. We love you.
Dear Swami,
Dear Swami,
dear Swami,
Happy birthday.
happy birthday.
happy birthday.
Dear Swami, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात् साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्
Everyone. Wishing you all a very happy birthday. The highlight for our SSE children every year, especially the Group 4s, is Swami's birthday play. The excitement of going on stage and becoming a character are some of the things that they look forward to. While they were disappointed that there was no traditional offering this year, the heart, hard work, and determination they have shown us was the same, if not more. This year, rather than being just the actors, the girls were also the conceptualizers, scriptwriters, directors, editors, and artists. Each one of them encompassed roles that traditionally involved multiple people, and they navigated through the restrictions imposed by COVID with utmost grace. Their real-life stories, as shared in this offering, illustrates their growth as devotees and their determination to embody our story is His story. I hope their journeys have inspired you to also tread the sacred path Swami has laid out for us. Please join us at 5 p.m. this evening for the Group 4 Boys offering as they walk us through the 3 paths to reach God. See you then, and Om Shri Sai Ram.